Georgia, Alabama, Saturday, Bryant-Denny Stadium. Yes, it's that time. Welcome into the DGD Podcast. I'm Robert. That's Kobe and Keon in the building. Gentlemen, Kobe, you're ready to fucking go. It's time to fucking go.
I've been ready to go. I've been ready to go all week long. Maybe for the last 2 weeks.
So much so that my man is decked out. I'm not gonna spoil it because I need you to watch this, folks. For those listening to the podcast, I'm just saying. Loaded show, obviously. Loaded show. Kobe, just how big?
One more time. That's my phone vibrating there.
Oh,
saying rookie.
I know, right? Just how big is this Alabama game?
I don't like to oversell things because I do think the media can kind of jump and run. But kind of like we talked about on Monday, it's a litmus test. It's a litmus test for us. It's for them. What's our season going to look like? What their season's going to look like? And as far as recruiting and some things like that go, I just don't know that you can put a value on winning this game. I'm excited. I'm excited to see kind of what we have going on. And I'm just ready for Saturday night.
Keon, what about you?
Anxious. Looking forward to the game. Also, want to tell everybody that's, in that area, in the states of Georgia and Alabama, especially South Georgia, I believe even the Atlanta area, stay inside, stay safe. Because I got family out there. They've been telling me that it's coming down out there. But looking forward to the game. Talking season's over. Let's go. Like, I can't wait. All right. I already got the wings that I'm going to order, right? I already got the Dos Equis in the fridge with the limes, right? Beer salts as well. And we have tequila. Can't forget. That's the most important. That's the most important part.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we're going to start out day drinking on Saturday. And then it's going to go from there. We're going to start the day off with tequila just to set the tone. Reposado.
God dang. Start the day off with tequila?
Yeah.
Patience stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have a water to start the day and just to make sure the organs is lively. But soda, then tequila, right?
You got to watch my man Keon be ending the night off with a bottle of Galaxy gas.
Yeah.
Oh, please, God, no. Jeez.
We're taking off. All right.
I do got to ask y'all this. So, breaking today was the NCAA UNLV starting receiver, Bear Alexander, all planning to redshirt. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of this new world we're living in this, Power 4 conference, unlimited NIL, not really transparent, no contracts. It's like professional football without the contracts, without the transparency. If you were to ask me how much is Charlie Warner making to play for the Atlanta Falcons this year, I'd tell you he's on a 3-year, $12 million contract with X amount of money guaranteed no matter what happens. You look at somebody and you go, okay, cool. How much money is Carson Beck making for the Georgia Bulldogs this year? You go, well, On3 estimates that his NIL valuation is roughly between $480,000 and $1.4 million. It's like, cool. What's he really making? What is Georgia and our NIL collective and the opportunities we're presenting him really, bringing out of him? Rashad is dealing with this at Florida. Promises, empty promises that aren't followed through, they hurt. They sting. They're being stabbed in the back. I mean, the guy at UNLV, he's a 50% career passer. Playing on Sunday is probably not in his future. An extra $250,000 from UNLV is a ton of money for him, and it's going to go a long way. So, I don't agree with it, but I also understand, if you believe you're worth a certain amount of money and you and the coaching staff have agreed upon paying you that amount, to kind of back out of that mid-season it stings.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not here to be a judge on either side. I just thought it was interesting that it's starting to happen in the regular season and not for bowl games. Thought that was very interesting.
We don't know
But enough
how
about
much
that.
these guys are making at all. And it's so hilarious to me because people will see estimations and evaluations and whole time, buddy, like just like you said, anywhere from 450,000 to 1.5 whole time, buddy's making like 3 mil easy. Like,
Or I mean, Arch Manning's the perfect example of that to me. Arch Manning is I think he has the number 2 NIL valuation on On3 right now. I think I saw it the other day. It was like $3.4 million a year NIL. And he and his parents have already said that they're not going to take $1 of NIL until he's the starting quarterback at Texas. So how are you saying he's worth or getting 3.4 mil when he's already said, I don't care what I'm valued at. I'm collecting 0 at the moment.
I thought that is interesting. Listen, we've got bigger fish to fry. I just definitely had to bring that up because that is something that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for. I'm just here to tell you. Guys, it's Bama week. We've waited. It's time. Saturday. I'd say this is arguably the game of the year. I know we've got Texas. We've got Ole Miss, whatever. Still here to say that I think this is, when all said and done, I'm going to make my prediction now. This is going to be the game of the year. I don't see anything else to believe that it wouldn't be. Would y'all agree? Or I mean, I know the magnitude is massive.
Yeah, no, it's definitely huge from that standpoint. I do believe that this is going to be the game of the year. I think there's a lot riding on this game, but for both teams, but nevertheless, game of the year.
I think the big thing, game of the year, I think I'll be able to tell you that maybe when the game's over. Right now, I want to see us, this kind of like I've been saying to a lot of my friends this week, this game to me, win, lose, or draw, I want to see us play to a certain way. I want to see the offensive play and operate in a certain way. I want to see the defense play and operate in a certain way. And I want to see our play calling reflect that. I want to see our execution reflect that. I guess when I think of the games we're capable of playing, how many times we've lost when we've played a game we're capable of playing, they're very few and far between. When I think about games we've lost under Kirby, I think we've come out flat, we've turned the ball over, we've kind of beat our head against the wall offensively. We haven't tackled well defensively, things like that. I think you come out, Bobo draws up some good plays. Carson Beck isn't too timid, and I'll be willing to take, whatever the score is at the end of it. And I think odds are in our favor if that happens.
This is going to be interesting because I think it's going to be a first for both teams. And what I mean by that is this. The first game in a very, very long time, one without Nick Saban. Two, the narrative on this game it's different, right? We haven't had Bama on a bye week during the early season. So this is all, the timing of it feels so different. Both teams coming off of a bye. I like Kirby and I like Georgia in their chances coming off of a bye. Their statistic, I'm going to say 16-2, right? Coming off of a bye week. But I think this game is going to be interesting because I think you're going to need several things to go right. Just because Nick Saban's not there, in my opinion, does not mean that this game isn't going to be just a slobber knocker, right? I still think most of the, there's a lot of guys there that Saban recruited, and I'm not discrediting DeBoer as a coach yet. We've seen the competition and compared and everything up to this point. And you could argue that Georgia's played the better competition to this point, but the narrative, just us coming off this Kentucky game, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, Bama's going to beat the shit out of them."
Oh,
Because
bro,
you saw what they did with.
we got to be the worst team in America. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's Florida State. Well, there's Florida State, Georgia. Right after that Kentucky game. You would just looking at the media, you would think we're actually going 7-5. See, Kirby's teased it all of these years and made the guys believe that we were going 7-5. Now the media is starting to believe this bullshit. It's crazy.
I mean, I would make the argument that I could not have picked a better time to play a bad game than the week before a bye and the week before a big game.
Right.
That if I had to pick a game where we win ugly, a lot of defense, some slow offense, it would definitely come before a bye, a time that you have a long time to reflect and work on it. And then it feeds right into, like you're saying, the narrative. All of a sudden, I know you're not favored to lose. You're still, I think, a 1.5 point favorite roughly. But I think a lot of people in the media, including some analysts for the University of Georgia, insiders, have been leaning towards Alabama lately. I mean, you know, we won't name any names, but, you know, hey, call it as you see it. If you believe they're going to win, they're going to win. But at some point, man, you got to ride with your fellas. If you're not willing to ride with us into Tuscaloosa, are you willing to ride with us into Texas, into Ole Miss?
Absolutely not. They're not.
Where you're willing to go. So, will it be a hard-fought game? Will it be ugly at times? They may score a lot of points, but it's one of those things that as long as a Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann-led team roll in somewhere, I know we're going to be competitive. And that's what more can you ask for at that point?
This game, I feel like for some reason there's a lot of discussion based off of the SEC title game. I don't necessarily like that at this point in time because they're completely different teams, right? You look at Isaiah Bond for them last year, Jermaine Burton last year. Both of those guys are gone. You lost Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terry and Arnold. There's so much turnover on these teams.
Hall of Fame name, by the way. Just
that is 100%. Yeah, bro, I'm fine with that.
Look, I keep telling people last year has nothing to do with this year. They're two separate seasons. That from what happens last season doesn't define who we are this season. You know, I mean, and if you're still reaching for straws to pull that and make that as your own personal analysis, if we go out there and beat them, you look like a fucking idiot. Simple. Because the fact that they lost last year, that's why they're going to go in here after a bye week. Because, Kentucky, how the game went last year, they're going to lose this year because they lost last year. You look like an idiot.
But I don't think either team really knows their true identity right now until this Saturday.
I can make an argument for that. And against it. I got a strong argument against that.
Well, hear me out.
And his name is Dabo Swinney.
Right.
Mr. YouTube TV himself.
He was fascinating.
Now, the reason why I say that is because we've seen the highs this season so far, right? The Clemson win. We've seen in between. We've seen it with Tennessee Tech. And then we've seen the struggle bus, right? We had those games. Like I said, we talked about that after the Kentucky game. Struggled, but it's a win on the road in the conference. I'm okay with that. After all said and done. But obviously, I think we're all on.
If Kentucky keeps it within 10 with Ole Miss this week, do you think the narrative changes about the win at Kentucky?
Yes.
You think it's 24-14 Ole Miss against Kentucky this week? Everybody goes, maybe they're not so bad.
We'll see.
If Georgia loses this game, I don't think people are going to give a shit because they're going to be talking about us losing.
But if Georgia wins and Ole Miss barely squeaks by, they're going to be like, well.
look at what they did on the road there, Keon.
Maybe that South Carolina game was a fluke. I don't know. Maybe
Dylan Stewart's the best defender on grass right this second. Honestly,
Jesus
Right.
Christ. Yeah, arguable. Make it a debate right there. No, I think this will be interesting too. Just the narratives that are coming out of this game and could very well, play through Saturday. DeBoer's first conference game just so happens to be at home against Kirby Smart, right? That's a huge matchup. Huge matchup. We're so used to Saban and Kirby that even myself, like I'll talk about this for myself. I don't know what to expect. I really don't. Like, you can watch their tape through the first 3 games. You can go back and watch DeBoer's offense at Washington. I still don't think you see what you're going to see Saturday. I just don't know what to expect. And I think that's okay. But damn, it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that.
How do you think just stuff? I mean, it's Wednesday when we're recording this, so this hasn't happened yet. For all those listening on Thursday, it actually should be happening roughly either tomorrow night about this time, a little before this, or maybe Friday morning. But obviously, with game day being in Tuscaloosa, they do media with both teams. So that means at some point, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart will sit down to have a little pregame chat. Be interested to hear, maybe college game day Saturday morning, how that goes, the questions that are asked. I know nothing but respect for those two guys, but I mean, how tough is it going to be to dig up the past with the man that has kind of put you in the grave a time or two?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting though, because we've always seen this where Saban's not there, and I'm not necessarily saying anything off of it, but one thing that I think we can all agree on is in-game adjustments were so crucial in these games when Nick and Kirby played. You go to the championship when he switched out Tua, right? You saw that when he went back and switched in Hurts. Those big-time calls that had the cojones on that call, because that's a serious big-time call. Do we see anything like that with DeBoer, right? If the game dictates that. Do we see him make those changes and adjustments? No clue. But I think that's what's going to make this so exciting, right? You've got Ryan Williams, by the way, breaking news. Actually, just now reading this, 17 years old.
What? Yep.
That's unbelievable. Listen, freak athlete, but I still think when you look at Milroe, I think the X factor here will probably be talking about Milroe a lot here in just a second. Milroe and those guys, but don't sleep on that defense. They don't have Caleb Downs. They lost some pieces, but they still got some freak athletes. Like, let's be honest here. But I guess that's a good time to transition over to this. When it comes to quarterback play, do y'all agree that quarterback play is going to make or break this game?
100%.
I think so. I think quarterback play, I mean, obviously in a majority of football games, especially when defenses are as good as the two of these are. I mean, I don't think, and I would be surprised if either of us lined up and ran the ball down each other's throats. I mean, I think you're going to have to hit some shots when they're available, dial up some big plays, have the ability to score quickly and suddenly, chunk plays. And then on the other side of it, havoc plays, disrupting good quarterbacks. Because if you give good quarterbacks all the time in the world, they're going to beat you eventually. So, I think they have a good guy back there that's controlling their offense. I mean, he's dynamic. He moves well. He throws the ball on time. He has nice touch on the deep ball. I mean, he's a solid, above average, probably all conference level quarterback in the SEC. And we got the same thing, in my opinion. I think it's too early in the year to call either of them All-Americans at this point. But, I mean, they're both going to be, in my eyes, two of the better quarterbacks in this conference. So, and they got good weapons. I mean, don't let it sleep just because Tyler Williams 17 or just because their guy's 17 and having a good year so far. I mean, they got other guys that can make you hurt.
I think Kendrick Law is going to be somebody you have to watch out for. Buddy can block his ass off.
Kobe Prentice.
Kobe Prentice. Jam Miller. I mean, listen, Justice Haynes, we're all familiar with him too. He makes running fast look effortless. Keon and Kobe, I want to do this real fast before we break this game down even further. We talked about the weather earlier. So what better way than with our game day forecast?
It's gonna fucking rain, right? Right here, right now. Storm is coming in. Let me show you where it's going, right? If we pull up our adapter, right? Also known as the Apple weather, right? As you can see, Friday, we're looking at a 60% chance of rain here. 65% chance of rain here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama on Friday. Now, Saturday, that's where it gets interesting, right? Because if I click here, right, and I just, drag and drop, you know what I'm saying? Boom, let's see if you can see that. If you can't see that, you can't see that. The weather for Saturday's forecast, the high at 76, the low at 64. Should be, by the time kickoff occurs, looking at roughly 70 degrees. So you might get a good wind chill there. But back to you, Rob, in studio.
Thank you, Keon, for the weather update there. Needed that. Honestly, think we needed that for anybody going to Tuscaloosa. Make sure if you like that forecast right there, and you like Keon's job, make sure to smash that like button. Just gonna leave that in there. Okay, just do that for us. All right, let's talk about this. What is it time? Is it time for this? The keys to victory here for Georgia. We can do Georgia and Alabama on this one. We'll start. Do y'all want to start with Georgia or Alabama?
Let's start with Bama.
Let's start with Bama. All right. Keys to victory if you're Alabama.
I think Jalen Milroe will play a huge part in that. Not only with passing, but him also getting those rushing yards. Going through all of his reads and being able to dice up the defense is very imperative. While, if you have an open lane and you don't see anybody down there, just tuck that shit and tote it. I mean, there's no other way. That's just offensively.
I think it's going to start with obviously Miller. You took the easy one for me. I think you're going to have to create explosives. You have, if you're Alabama, you have the ability to be one of the most explosive teams in college football. We saw that against South Florida. You can say what you want. 25 points in 6 minutes is still wild. Sorry, just here to tell you, right? I don't care if it's South Florida or Kennesaw State or whoever. That just showed that you do have the ability to hit explosives. If you're Alabama, hitting those explosives and getting the crowd even more raucous, if you will, I think it's going to be a big time deal.
I think it comes down to, like you're saying, havoc plays on the defense, turnovers on the defense, turnovers on the offense, explosive plays on the offense. You have 3 or 4 of those. If you're Bama, you're going, either team has 3 or 4 of those. You're going to win by 10 plus running away with this thing. You got to protect the ball at home. You look at some of Alabama's biggest losses in my memory. You look at Texas A&M. I think that was 2 years ago at Texas A&M. They have 3 or 4 turnovers at Texas A&M. Just games against Johnny Manziel, they turned the ball over. Games at Ole Miss when they were struggling with Ole Miss, kind of let a game get ahead of them, get away from them. I think that if you're Alabama, you are trying to play your game. You're trying to run the ball, lull those safeties up, and hit big shot plays. I think you're going to create, kind of create with Jalen Milroe. if the pressure is getting there, you got to keep solid rush lanes with all 4 to 5 defenders. You cannot, go to the upfield shoulder because he's going to spin out. He's going to run. He's going to burn you, 10, 15 yards a clip. Nothing is more demoralizing to a defense, to a defensive coordinator, to a coach than all of a sudden it's 3rd and 8. You call a good protection, good defensive rush games. They get home, you miss. The guy scrambles out, gains 9, fresh set of downs. You keep rolling. That hurts. That hurts because at that point you've put yourself in the best situation to win, and you just weren't able to execute when the moment called for it. I think at home, obviously, the crowd is going to be a big deal. I think it always is. Bryant-Denny's at night. Going to be a tough place to play.
This ain't the COVID year either, where you only had 25% either.
No,
so
I mean, it's going to be.
You definitely have to use this to your advantage.
Yeah, and Trump's going to be there. It's going to be crazy.
Listen, guys, I'm going to Tuscaloosa. You know it. We all know it. Going to Tuscaloosa. It's going to be great. The crowd, huge. Absolutely huge. Biggest crowd you've ever seen.
I mean, honestly, though, I think of games, if I am really like dissecting games I'm worried about, I think of games under Kirby Smart at night on the road, big rowdy crowds, a loss at LSU, a loss at Auburn. Those are the 2 off the top of my head that I think of.
Definitely Kirby Smart's got to break this narrative of losing on the road. Big games.
Big games at night on the road. We've shown at Missouri 2 years ago. I mean, came down to the end of that game at night in Missouri. I think that's going to be a big flip when we do Keys of Victory to Georgia on how I think they can win.
Are there any other ones that we want to talk about for Bama? I think limiting turnovers. The reason why I say that is because if Georgia has a propensity to, if Georgia can capitalize, you're going to set yourself up for a rough night, right? We'll talk about this later. But if you look back at the SEC title game, and like I said, we don't like to sit here and look and what if all that stuff. It got interesting. There were some plays that Georgia should have capitalized on and made turnovers, and they didn't. I think Georgia's experienced enough to capitalize and force turnovers. So you've got to make sure that you don't put the ball at risk. If you're Jalen Milroe, hold on to the ball, go from there.
I think another key to victory for Alabama is the offensive line executing. If we're going to be honest, off of the previous games that they had with not only Wisconsin, they had some struggles there, but even with USF, I mean, you can say that the offensive line wasn't fully correct out there. It wasn't really the full set of starters, which does play to it. I'm not going to lie to you there. But if the offensive line comes out and has a good game, you have Jalen Milroe back there with more time. He has the opportunity to deliver that ball really at any level of the field, to be truthful. And with the ability of him being able to tuck and run does create issues. Just like you said, Kobe Prentice, Ryan Williams, the freshman phenom, it can be very problematic, not going to lie to you there. So, I mean, those would be my keys to victory if I was a Bama fan. That's how I'd look at it. Really just having that offense going out there and executing, because that offense does have the ability to be very explosive. And I don't necessarily think that they're a team that anybody wants to go score for score with them in the country.
No, you definitely got to limit points for either team. I think the final one for me is keep Carson Beck uncomfortable.
100%.
If you can get him feeling uncomfortable, don't let him get into a rhythm. You see what happens if you keep him uncomfortable. Kentucky shows. So when it comes to that, if you can keep him uncomfortable, you're putting yourself into a good position. With that being said, let's flip the switch. Keon, Kobe. Keys to victory if you are Georgia. I'm going to start off first.
Go ahead.
Force turnovers. You have to make sure that you create havoc. When you're on the road, and Kobe, you've played these night games, you know all too well that getting the crowd out of it any way possible, slowing the momentum down any way possible, is crucial for your team on a road to victory here. especially in conference this magnitude, it's going to be amplified. You have to find ways to create havoc and force turnovers. You have to. If that means getting a pick from Milroe or forcing a fumble, right? Something like that. Maybe get it to an early 3 and out. Maybe not even let the crowd get involved. Do it early 3 and out. It's going to be hard. And I'm not saying it's not going to be easy by any means, but you've got to find a way to get sacks, get pressures on them, get sacks, find a way to create a turnover, create the havoc, calm that stadium down, and capitalize. Keon, what about you?
So I would say the offense going out there and executing. Carson Beck, this is a legacy game for you. There's no other way for me to look at it. The offensive line, y'all got to be on your game. Truss, I'm looking dead at you, bro. Looking dead at you. Ernest Green, looking dead at you. Right? Like this is the game that y'all got to go out here and y'all have to fully execute and be fully locked in. Yet again, that defense, I mean, they sat down and talked to the media the other day. I watched that from not only, I believe it was Malachi Starks and Dylan Fairchild. I mean, the guys definitely do look ready. But going out there and executing, don't overstep yourself so you don't mess yourself. What they say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's bad for your health.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the biggest thing, not putting yourself in any form of bad spot, really just trying to work off of the ground you are, where you're at. So that's the biggest thing. But yeah, Carson Beck, that offense, Mike Bobo, bro, you cannot be fucking conservative, dog. I'm honestly tired of fighting for my life defending this guy in our group chats. It's getting like you have to come out here. You have to come out here and you have to be firing on all cylinders.
Kirby?
Yeah, I think keys to victory for us. A lot of similar things to like they were for Alabama. I think we're built very similar. I think both teams are eerily similar. It's the joke, the two juggernauts of college football at the moment. Do things similar ways. I think the biggest thing on the road is not to get down early. I think all of a sudden you look up and it's 14-3 or 17-3. You could be in for a long night pretty quickly. Obviously that's any time, but I think especially on the road, it's going to be hard to kind of build back. I think something that is necessary that we didn't see against Clemson, we didn't see obviously against Kentucky, we saw a glimpse of it against Tennessee Tech, is starting fast. I think about 2021, when that team was really firing on all cylinders, we were starting fast, full throttle, first quarter, first 2 quarters. And then we were kind of getting out of there. We had some guys rotating in by the end of the third. Not saying we're going to be rotating people in Tuscaloosa, but just saying that, you need to dial up some plays that are going to work, some plays that are going to hit, some plays that are going to get you in good scoring positions early to get some confidence in your quarterback. Because right now, my biggest thing about Carson compared to even like Stetson is, to me, you got to kind of fluff him up to get him going. Like Stetson rolled into games ready to rip somebody's face off. And I don't know Carson personally like I know Stetson, but he just doesn't give off that same vibe. He gives off that kind of that Jay Cutler, very stoic, very, just very monotone face of like, good or bad, I'm here, I'm going to play quarterback, we're going to try to go win. I think that you get down, get him an easy 7 early, and kind of let him loose, take the training wheels off, try to let him throw the ball around. I think defense is really easy. I think you got to contain Milroe. You have to limit the big 2-3 touchdown shot plays where all of a sudden they run the ball 2 times, throw a deep ball, and it's 7 points. And then you got to be able to tackle. You couldn't tackle against Kentucky.
Get them to the ground.
You couldn't tackle against Kentucky well. The last time you didn't tackle like that, I think the last time you had double-digit missed tackles was Alabama 2021 SEC championship game. And the last time before that was 2018 LSU at LSU. You don't miss 10, 11, 12 tackles and come out winners most of the time. So, I think that's something they've definitely probably cleaned up the past 2 weeks. But like you're saying, Jalen Walker, I think you could put the world on notice this week. I mean,
he's
in
already
a big way.
Like you, it's not even that. It's stamping it. It's not putting them on notice. I mean, you've got Micah Parsons against Kentucky.
Fam. Micah, back the fuck up. Y'all are no way. No, bro. It's bad enough that I'm watching half of the Natty team at Philly, bro. Jalen Walker to the Cowboys, bro. No, dog. No. Oh, you could have just left that beautiful. Out of the show.
No, can't do that. I want to preface.
We'll edit that out in post production.
No, we'll clip it and put it on social media. Actually, I'll tag Michael Parsons on it.
Fam, go to hell, bro. No, he's not, bro. Fuck.
Oh, jeez. I want to preface this. Injury report came out. Right, I got another key to victory, but I got this. You'll see why. Georgia, Roderick Robinson, London Humphreys out. Tate Ratledge out. Michael Sokovie, Jordan Hall questionable, and Warren Brinson is probable. On the flip side, Quay Russaw, Richard Young, Jeremiah Alexander, all listed as probable for Alabama.
I have a question that I guess I don't know, and for some reason I should know, but you saying that just made me think of it. Is there any punishment or restriction for calling someone questionable versus probable?
I would assume probably not, just because you could say that, hey, it's a game time decision. We need to see how they warm up out there before we make a call. And if I'm not mistaken, they do.
Like that's what I'm saying. You listen to our two guys. Two of our guys questionable. One of our guy probable. Their three guys probable. Like what's the difference? I guess I don't know. Somebody, if you know in the chat, let me know. Otherwise, I'll look it up later.
I think a lot of it too is there's more than just this initial one, right? They even go all the way up till 90 minutes before kickoff. So I think there's another one in between that final one. So there's a chance that things can change. People get added. We'll see. It's definitely something to monitor.
Questionable, probable, maybe. We don't know. Probably not. Doubtful. Okay.
Like, I want to say Alabama fans were probably even questioning Quay Russall's ability to play this week.
Well, I mean, I think they're in a similar situation, kind of like Michael. Like, can he go? If he can, great. If he can't, are we really gonna roll those dice? Probably so. I mean, I would say.
I mean, it's Georgia, Bama. I would assume so. Yeah.
Are we gonna roll the dice? Most likely.
I think another thing specifically with this matchup, we're so used to it being in the SEC title game that you always have that extra time after a game. Whereas after this, you go to the next game. You see what I'm saying? It kind of gives me, if you're not careful, these Georgia, South Carolina vibes when Shane Beamer decided to play, I think it was Juice Wells, with a messed up foot, and then he re-aggravated it and was out for the season. Right? You got to be extremely careful. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and shout out Shannon here. Kirby considers just kidding. Kirby probably considers probable is if they practice during the week. I think all reports have said though that Michael's been practicing. If I'm correct.
He did. It sounds like because he was hopeful that they were going to be good. And when Kobe, you know how Kirby is. When you say hopeful, that tells me I think there's a good shot you're lining up. Just my thought.
All I really need is like 20 snaps from him, honestly.
I mean, whether it be a snap count, I still think he can just be disruptive. Which I want to go back to my key to victory. When I look at that right there, we talked about creating the havoc. Play disciplined football, and that's all levels. I love our secondary. I love it. But this is the biggest test so far, right? This is the biggest test from a receiving core. You can say what you want. This might not be your historic 2020 style or whatever. Still a damn good one. If you can say what you want. So these guys will get tested. Secondary, I'm not necessarily as concerned about. I will say that I am concerned that you limit explosives, right? You're going to give up a couple. I'm betting on that, and I guarantee you are as well. But you just can't get beat over top. Don't let Ryan Williams at 17 years old get past you. These things like that. Just where I'm at with that. Now, when it comes to linebackers and it comes to the front seven, I thought did a pretty damn good job keeping him in the pocket. Right? He still found some lanes, but you got to do a better job. At the same time, you've got to come and be physical with these guys. You have to bring your fucking hat with them and come and pop them in the mouth. Period. You cannot sit here. You have to strike first. What are you talking about?
Would you trade your NFL team not winning another game this season to see the Dogs win Saturday? Absolutely. No question. Sacrifice them.
Keon, it says you can't
answer this because the NFL team isn't winning another game this season. That's not true. The Cowboys are dog shit too. And
are you going to win tomorrow, Keon?
We're dog shit too, but it's our dog shit is small. We're corgi shit, okay? They're Cane Corso shit. From a distance, is that a raisin? Oh, it's a turd. That's us. They are, was that from a human? Oh my God. But continue.
I do want to say this though, right? We talked about, all right, D-line, get these guys healthy again, right? Keeping these guys fresh. Being that you have the rotation, right? You got to make sure we withstand these injuries. I need you to be physical. There's some guys that are gettable on that offensive line, but they have some dudes as well. All right, they do. I'm expecting them to come and play their best game because it's shown in these past games. It just has. They played shit against Auburn last year, and then SEC title game 1 week, bam, whole new world.
Listen,
period.
Speaking of the O-line for them, I'm begging you, Zebras. I just want a good, clean fault match with some fair throwing of the flags. That's all the brothers asking.
Not gonna happen.
That's all the brothers asking for. I want some fair holding calls around the league, because I ain't just saying in this case. I mean, you telling me Kentucky didn't have one holding penalty all week 2 weeks ago? A penalty that experts would argue there's a hold on every play. It just depends if you call it or not. And we called none of them. Hey, that's all I'm gonna say about the old Whitecaps this week. But just yellow hanky on occasion.
Listen. I'm telling you right now. Eat a whole thing of Taco Bell and give it about 2 hours, or trust the rest. Which one you trusted more?
The quesarito ain't that bad. You just got to be close in proximity to a toilet, just in case, you got a fart or something. But, Baja Blast makes it go down a little bit smoother.
You mean the Baja Blast?
Yeah. That's funny.
Now, I want to get back to it, though, too. Our linebackers, if you want to do any type of comparison, the linebacker play this year compared to last should show an obvious terms of getting better from then to now. You had a freshman CJ, freshman Raylan. You had, to start the game, Xavier Sori out there. But he's playing at Arkansas right now. You've got Jalen Walker. You've got Damon Wilson, Gabe Harris. Those guys are sophomores now. That linebacker and that edge group should be way better.
Definitely. I agree. I mean, I think you had one of the youngest defenses, especially in the middle of your defense, like you're saying. Your linebacker room was super young. Your DB room was fairly young at times. I think you're going to see a lot of growth from the last time we played from that part of your defense. I think, CJ having – this is a cool thing compared to last year too. CJ having a mic in the helmet, listening to Glenn, listening to Kirby, up to 15 seconds before the play. I mean, it's going to be like playing chess out there. Just going to be cool to see and how they communicate and all that. And, how different this game can really look. And I think that's been what has been so cool about these games over the years. I know we've come out on the wrong side of a lot of them, but just how iconic they are, because honestly, and this is going to be the truth, even kind of going back to talking about the refs. You think back to these games, this is an NFL caliber game that's played in college football. These games are so close. They're so good. There's so much talent on both sides. The guy's technique is unbelievable. The play calling for both teams is typically unbelievable. All of it is just a tier above what most college football games are like. So the small little things, the special teams plays, the turnovers, the bad calls on referees, they feel that much more important, like an NFL game does, where one bad call can be the complete difference in the game. Where typically, like a game against a South Carolina, Kentucky, one bad call typically does not completely change the outcome of the game. These games can be that way. I mean, we've seen it. Like you're saying, it just it's that close, it's that tight, and I have a feeling this one's going to be more of the same.
I want to pose this question because this is an excellent question here, brought up from the brigade. It says, how much man defense can they play? Is Bama's secondary undisciplined? And to answer that, I'm not going to say they're undisciplined. I think they can be attacked. I think you need to attack them. You need to at least put the effort to attack them. I think they're going to, honestly, when it comes to how much man defense, they're a bumping run type team anyway. So you're probably going to expect them to see that right there. But they do do some coverage ones, like Chase says here. A lot of cover one, Tampa 2. You'll see them rotate. You'll see them what looks to be maybe lining up, playing man and man tendencies, but they'll look and they'll go back into a cover 2 or whatever. So this is a game where Carson Beck has to see these small things and make those calls based off of the pre-reads, the pre-snap reads. You've definitely got to be disciplined for if you're Carson Beck. Seeing they're lined up like they're man. Boom. They're all looking at me. I know that zone. Those small things right there could be the deciding factor in a win or a loss. But pre-snap reads, I think, are going to be key here because you're not going to be able. I've never been to Tuscaloosa. Kobe, I don't know if you have either. That place, I could imagine being extremely loud, especially with this kind of game. So audibling is going to be extremely difficult, if impossible. You've got to be able to make your reads and go from there.
Sorry, small caveat for those listening and watching. Bear Alexander's handler just tweeted out a picture of them in all Bama outfit.
Take them, Bama. Y'all need them, don't you?
Just a random. I mean, what a random turn of events for that gentleman.
Oh my God. Oh, brother.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us like that. I knew that would get Keon feeling some type of way.
No, you did.
Wish him the best.
With the 200th pick in the 6th round of the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Bear Alexander, defensive tackle, Southern California.
We're gonna order Keon jersey. It'll be the savior.
We can put him next to Dexter Lawrence, and while y'all bullshitting, that would
he can be y'all's Micah Parsons. Rush him off the edge, Keon. Let him go get him. Let him drop 3 pounds and let him go get him.
Bro, y'all don't make me be honest tonight. Like, y'all leave me alone.
But no, back at it.
I do want to say
Carson needs to make the throws. He's got to let it rip.
Carson's got to be confident from pre-snap to the end of the play. And diagnosing the coverages, diagnosing things like that. Once the ball snapped, what do you see? So, and honestly, I want to get y'all's guys' opinion on this. I want him to be aggressive, but at the same time, depending on the down and distance, I'm okay with a check down if we're getting first downs. Okay, it's that type of game. I will understand you want to attack, but sometimes can being over aggressive cost you as well, right? We saw in the SEC title game one fumble arguably cost us that game. So I want to be aggressive, but within reason. Am I only one here thinking that or no?
I don't know if I'm ever going to, based off of what Mike Bobo and Carson have shown me, I don't know if I ever believe they will be too aggressive. I just think both of them have just tendencies to be okay with the check down, be okay with the 3 yards. I think if anything, sometimes they both got to just dial it up a little bit and say, hey, we got to go let it rip. Obviously, the argument is if you can't do the easy stuff well, what makes you think you can do the hard stuff well? I get that. I get that thought process, but also even a blind quarterback finds an open receiver downfield on occasion. I mean,
trust us. Ask Dan Mullen about that. You're right.
You got to be able to throw it sometimes. So my thing is that'll be the big thing too, is when we're able to take the shot plays. This is the kind of game you can't miss. I think Carson kind of has a tendency early in the game to have those big shots come up either a little short or a little long. So, if Arian Smith's running, nobody within 10 yards, it's got to be there this game. It can't miss. Not and think that you may be the number 1, number 2 quarterback in this class.
Yeah, no. The biggest question of the bye week so he meant to say Stanford, but did Jurasik transfer, learn how to block? Dude, I still think the game is too fast for him at this point, and I don't see.
I don't think you play him in this game. I don't think you play him
I think you're looking at Lawson, and I think you look at Lawson and Oscar, and then maybe even Riddell.
Yeah.
You can't. You.
Happy birthday to Riddell, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Jane Riddell for the birthday. Yeah, happy birthday. I just think when it comes to this type of magnitude for this game, even one missed block can decide this game. I think it's going to be that close of a game.
And Ben Jurasik, you just got here, and you don't want to be hated by the entirety of all of us because you missed a block on a.
Even then, Bama's defense will come and strike you too. So you've got to come and you've got to be ready to come in and be aggressive on the outside perimeter blocking and blocking in general. You've got to be ready. You've got to be ready for that. Because I guarantee you, even our DBs, they're gonna. I would not be surprised if they try to send one of our corners, maybe even Joe Nell, into covered situations into run support, and then.
I'm thinking we're going to be lucky if Dan Jackson doesn't leave this game with targeting at some point. That's how I feel our back end. I mean, Dirty Dan, he may be the fall guy.
Yeah, he's going to have to be the fall guy. He's going to have to.
Can't let KJ get that, right?
No. I mean, no, it has to be Dan.
I really.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can just see Dan absolutely taking somebody's head off and us just being like, well, good job, Dan.
I mean,
attaboy.
Look, man. Look. We're not rooting for injury. But if somebody does get a targeting, I'd rather it be Dan Jackson than literally
or Chaz.
Give
me Chaz. No, hell no. Give me Chaz Chambliss lighting up a run.
Dan Jackson and Chaz Chambliss, I mean.
And I'm not saying Chase says targets the 17-year-old. I'm not saying like Dan's going to mean to. I'm just saying Dan, covers that middle of the field aggressively.
He throws his body,
his whole body at you.
He does. So I mean, typically safeties I feel like are the ones that get left in bad situations when a play kind of has gone awry in front of them, and they're like, God dang it, I have to make this tackle. You're not really worried about where's your head and is it going to hit their head or is it on the right side or all that. You're like, I just got to make this tackle. We'll deal with the consequences when they come. So, hopefully, obviously, I don't want anybody hurt in this game. I really don't want anybody ejected on our side either. But it just feels like a big game. Tensions and emotions are high. It's like Keith says, Milroe has a tendency to come out jacked up. I mean, I think if this game doesn't fire you up as a student athlete, you're playing the wrong sport. You're playing in the wrong conference. You're doing a lot of things wrong in life if you're not all jacked up.
100%. I do want to ask this question. I want to pose it to all of us here, but at the same time, the brigade as well. what is the one matchup that you were most excited to see? It can be a player versus a player. It may be something that you're wanting to see that we might not see, or it could be a unit versus a unit. Either way, but I want to pose that question to everybody.
Give me Damani Jackson against Arian Smith or Anthony Evans.
Yeah, I think mine's.
Explain it. I mean, we'll let Keon talk. Why do you want to see that?
I thought Keon was kind of
barbecue chicken alert! Barbecue chicken alert! I need it. Woo! I gotta see it. Somebody's got to get deep fried, smothered, and not covered on that defense.
I think you know what though. Give me like Kobe. Actually, no, I'm gonna let you go first.
You can go first. It's your show. I'll hear what you got to say.
If I'm not mistaken, Bama has, was it Xavier Brown, or I think, I hope I'm probably butchering his first name.
Keith,
but he's
tell us who this is.
He's he's a transfer from Wake. I think I need to see that man get exposed in regards to being attacked. I want to see you be aggressive. Go him, right? Go at him. Whether that be Dom or whether that be, Michael Jackson. Maybe Michael Jackson might be spotted. Billie Jean might be spotted. Dirty Diana. You never know.
Smooth criminal.
Exactly. My God, Tom, I love it. That's where I'm at, though. I think I want to see that too. Keon Sabb is another good one too. Like I said, I think you have to attack the cornerbacks, and if they're going to present it, I want to see how they line up, and do they do a lot of man cover, bump and run coverage? I think they will, which kind of leads me to my point here. Colby Young. This is a game where you can make a lot of money getting off of press coverage, going up and getting 50-50 balls.
Head topping.
Keon Sabb is a ball hawk, that's for sure. Right, that's for sure. But I'm just curious to see how Bobo attacks this secondary. I think you've got to attack it, but how do you go about it? You see what I'm saying? That's just where I'm at. Kobe, what about you?
I've been sitting here thinking about them both, and they're very, very close for me. But I think if I think back the last 2 years, and I think about some success that we've had, it's been throwing the ball to the tight end. Tight ends own linebackers. Athletic tight ends make big plays and big moments. I think I personally have been very disappointed in the fact that I understand Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky, even the cat from Stanford. None of them are Brock Bowers at all. But to me, we haven't even run similar concepts in the route trees, in the plays, delivering the ball to them in a timely manner in space. I would like to see Oscar Delp own linebackers, getting the ball in space, go out, make a play. I think those are the plays, Brock's a home run threat, but the things that break you back is 12 yards, 15 yards, 12 yards again. 3rd and 5, tight end runs a little out, 6 yards, first down, here we go. That's a place where I still think we are unbelievably strong in that room. And it's a part of our game, I really think, that has been underutilized through 3 games this year. I think that matchup on Saturday is one that I think we are favored in the fact that I think our tight ends match up well against their linebackers. I just would like to see us take advantage of that a little bit.
I think I want to see us attack the middle of the field. Whether it be Dovers, crossing routes, whatever. Even mesh. If you want to do mesh, attack the middle of the field and get yourself running into space. I think the team speed, it's close, but there are certain areas where I think Bama, you can get them with team speed. You have to find that, expose that, and attack that. I'm here with that. Whether it be in the middle of the field or what, I don't know. Carlsbeck has shown that he is very comfortable throwing across in the middle of the field. I want to see more of that. I do. However, there's so many different matchups here too. I myself, I think this is something we didn't talk about just yet, but give me Jalen Walker versus Jalen Milroe.
My second thing was going to be Jalen Walker versus Proctor. So
that offensive line is big guys, man, for Alabama. But if you go back and watch some tape, even against Wisconsin, Caden Proctor is a guy that you can bull rush him back to the quarterback if you do it right. Now, again, I'm saying that to say I expect them to bring a different level of play, but I still think it's doable. I do. I want to say this too. Tanil brought up ETN, and that's another person I want to see. I want to see us get some run plays and be effective in the run game. I think you have to establish the run game again in this game. You have to, whether that be.
I mean, I agree. Running the ball effectively wins football games. Period.
Yes, 100%.
Period.
100%. Do y'all think ETN's the guy out of our running back, or do you think it could be somebody else?
I think it's going to be ETN and Branson. I feel like this is going to be a game for Branson.
I mean, there's been some whispers coming out of the bye week. You may see a little Dwight Phillips action.
I could see it.
Little sprinkles and whispers.
This is a type of game where you do things that you don't typically do in weeks past. You open up the playbook a little bit, and that's okay. That's okay if you open it up a little bit more.
Fuck it. Run the 22 personnel.
Shannon brings up a great point. I do not want to see us run our head into the 8-man box wall constantly for no reason. I don't want to see inside zone against an 8-man box. I understand. Sometimes it is necessary that you are just outmanned and you have to run into an 8-man box. But please pull a guard. Please crack back with a tight end. Please do not just run stretch inside zone left and hope that everybody's going to be able to make their block and ETN's going to make one man miss in the hole. You're just going to end up. I understand 3 or 4 yards is a big deal, but man, those guys, they're going to start stunting. They're going to start making it hard to understand where they're going. And we've struggled with moving mobile defensive lines in the past like that. So,
well, they're very good. And Malachi Moore, by the way, is extremely good at coming down, crashing, and beating guys to the outside and disrupting plays, right, if you're trying to run outside. It's going to take a team effort here, but you've got to sustain blocks, and you're going to have to find a way, whether it be in the screen game, sustain blocks. And it all comes down to physicality. You've got to come and be ready to strike somebody. I want to see a lot of heads popping back, Kobe. Tells me you're being physical. You're not just absorbing the contact. You're initiating contact. You're striking. If you do that and bring the game to them like that, there's a better chance that you can sit there and be effective on the ground and blocking. I feel it sounds basic, but it's easier said than done. We saw this in the SEC title game. Guys sitting there taking blocks and then getting reset. You strike them, get them back, hold your line, and go from there. Or reset the line of scrimmage in general. Shannon also says maybe a jet sweep and crash the end. If we haven't seen jet sweeps that much, do you think we see that this time?
I think I agree. You got to get Arian involved or Anthony Evans, and I think
or both. I mean, both would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, like you got to find a way to get the ball to your fastest people out in space. If they're gonna play bump and run coverage on Arian with a safety over the top, it's gonna be hard to hit him on the go beater, like you're saying. So to get him the ball, that's what he tried to do with that screen last week. We'll see.
Yeah, let's do this, boys. X factor. It can be Alabama. It can be Georgia, or do we want to do 1-1? Do you want to do 1-1 or you want to do one for each? One for each? Okay. Give me your X factor, and we'll go Kobe first. Kobe, give me your Bama X factor. Give me your Georgia X factor. Then we'll continue from there.
Yeah, I think Bama's X factor is going to be mobile quarterback, Jalen Milroe. Their X factor is the fact that he is able to create off-platform plays. It has been a rough sledding, a rough record for Kirby in off-platform accurate quarterbacks. I look at some of the games we've played before where we have struggled, and it is letting a guy not only beat you but then beat you again when you've won, you've gotten a 3rd and long, and all of a sudden he scrambles around, finds somebody at 12, 13 yards, makes a good throw, and it's 1st down, and you're looking around going, wow, we should have been off the field. Plays like that are their X factor, in my opinion. I don't think that they have any other guy besides maybe the freshman at receiver, but I just don't know if I'm ready to call him their main X factor. I think Kirby and Schumann are going to do a lot to try to take him away.
Keon, you want to go?
Yeah, I would say, Kobe Prentice. Being able to make plays and also really support in running downs. This is going to be very important for them. For us, I'm going to go Jalen Walker. Actually, no, I'll go Carson Beck for sure, because this is 100%. I really do feel this way. This is 100% a legacy game for him, for sure. Like, this is what you said you came back to Georgia for. Like, you got to get this dub here, man.
If I had to choose, I'm going Jahad Campbell for Alabama. I think that Jahad Campbell can expose our tackles. He's good. He's good. I think you can get to Carson Beck and get pressure on him quickly. So give me Jahad Campbell there. For Georgia, give me Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins. He has played some of his best football. And while everybody's looking at Jalen Walker, and honestly, one that I left off that I probably could have said too is Raylan Wilson. Because Raylan Wilson, I think you could see him be spying Jalen Milroe because he's that fast. It's insane. But I want to say Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins. I think he is that type of presence on the defensive line that he can create havoc and force the offensive line to alter their attention that way. If you can do that, and that opens up a Michael or a Jalen to create pressure elsewhere, or Christian Miller, right? I think that's another name. If you can do that and keep him pressured while not getting reset and not rushing too far upfield, you have a good shot at keeping him in the pocket, and that's how you probably need to be. So I'm going Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, and I'm going Jahad Campbell for Alabama.
Rolls me right into mine because I didn't realize we were doing both at once. My X factor for the Dogs has an ugly-ass haircut, wears a visor, and, it's personal. Kirby Paul Smart on sidelines, to me, is my X factor for us because there's some questions floating around, some questions that the media and I think some of us and, some Alabama fans won't answer. Is the King has retired. He's on College Game Day every Saturday morning doing Home Depot commercials, painting people's walls crimson, collecting a check from the Aflac Duck. Who's the new man? Who's the new head of college football? Who's the new face? Who's the head coach of the best team in college football? And right now, through, no fault of his own, he's had an Alabama problem. He's had a Nick Saban problem. He's won some big games. He's beaten Dabo. He's beaten Ryan Day. He's won some meaningful games. But you have an ability to kind of step on the throat and say, hey, listen, like Kalen DeBoer, he's won everywhere he's ever been, right? That's the thing we've heard all offseason. Kalen DeBoer, a great pick for Alabama. He's just won everywhere he's been. And I appreciate that. I get it. But I think the narrative you put to bed is you're just not going to win here. You're not going to win now. Or you may win here, but just not against us. And that's kind of the thing that was going on with Saban for a while with Kirby was, hey, listen, you're going to go over there. You're going to build them from the ground up. You're going to have a ton of success until you play us. And then it's personal. Then we're going to still show you who's in charge. and then you can go back to your corner of the world and do it all again next year. I think that's the vibe I'm ready for us to give off is, listen, Kalen DeBoer, you can build it and they'll come over there. It's an unbelievable program. The logo, the people, all bought in, the athletes. You're going to be great, except when you play us. And I think that's the vibe I'm ready for Kirby to give off.
Y'all talk about Carson Beck having a legacy game. For what it's worth, this could be a legacy game for Kirby Smart just as much. Getting past Alabama if you win Saturday, that could be a huge thing. He might not talk about it, but I guarantee you it's weighing on his mind a little bit.
I agree.
And especially the media narratives will go away if you win Saturday.
Yeah, it's hard to argue a man with 2 natties having a legacy game, but like you're saying, it definitely is important to him. I think personally, even if it's just a mental roadblock.
Are any other potential guys honorable mention X factors before we move on? I think Damon Wilson. Just my thoughts there. I think watch out for him. Let's do this. Since Mr. High Tough says, what's up, fellas? Just in time, guys. Just in time. It's time for High Tough's over-unders. Guys, this is fun. Every week we Mr. High Tough himself gives us a list of over-unders. We sit here, we make our calls, and then we go about our business and let the game play out. With that being said, for this week, I will read these off as such. Georgia defense. This is a heavy Georgia defense over-under, folks. Georgia defense, first one, 0.5 fumble recoveries. Does Georgia get a fumble recovery? Keon, do you want to start us off? Over or under? So you think so you're saying over on the fumble recovery. Okay. Got Keon for the over.
Under
on a fumble recovery.
Yep.
All right. I am going under as well. I think that Bama does a very good job protecting the football. So I'm going to go with under there. Georgia defense. Does Georgia defense do they take the ball away through the air? Does Georgia get an interception?
Yes.
Over. All right. So everybody is unanimous over on the interception. Okay. I am okay with that as well. Next one for the Georgia defense, 2.5 combined sacks for this defense. Do we see 2.5 sacks? Do we see 3?
Yes. I'm at the over as well. Milroe, I think the X factor there is Milroe's likelihood to run around a little bit, hold on to the ball, not throw the ball away. I think it'll bite him a time or two more. I think we end up with 3-4 sacks this game, even if they're not true, just in the pocket sacks. Even if they're more like scrambling, trying to get away, end up getting tackled.
So you've got the over on the sack count.
Yep, me too.
I'm going to devil's advocate and say under. I think you get a lot more pressure, but not the sacks. Is that fair?
If you're okay with it.
I guess I'm going to have to be. No, I do think we can get a couple sacks, but I don't feel comfortable going 3. I think he's too athletic and too mobile to avoid. I think he can avoid the sacks, but I do think you pressure him. If you can pressure him consistently, I'll take the being wrong here if we can get more than 2.5, promise. But that's where I'm at with that. Carson Beck, over under 271.5 passing yards.
It'll be a 3-bill game in my opinion. So yeah,
mine too.
I'm gonna go under as well. I'm gonna go under on that as well. I think he's over 250. I think he's right around 250 to 260. I think for some reason I get this feeling that we do some running and ETN can establish a run game, and that takes some pressure off of Carson Beck. But I'm going under on the 271.5. That's a lot of yards, but it's doable. It's doable, but I see the under here. And last but not least, Ryan Williams, 69.5 receiving yards.
I think he gets over.
So you've got the over.
I'm really torn about this because I really do think a lot of our focus is going to be on him. I think that if you're going to shade somebody with a safety, it's going to be him. You're going to kind of play to keep him from stopping us. But at the same time, it just takes one big play from him to be at like 50 yards. I'm gonna go under on this. I think we're gonna do a lot to limit his ability to be explosive to the best of our abilities. Obviously, I mean, if he's that good of a player, he just is what he is. But hopefully, it doesn't catch us sleeping, eyes in the backfield too much. But we're gonna go under.
So Kobe's got the under. Keon, what have you got?
I'll take the over.
I think I'm with Keon. I'm gonna go over as well. I think it's just chunk plays, right? Like it's just chunk plays. I do think Kendrick Law is going to be somebody to watch out for as well. But for some reason, I just get this feeling there he'll find an explosive and then just chunk plays because they're going to try to get him the ball, I would assume. Now, whether Dalen Everett or whether Julian Humphrey decides to cover him, I think it'll be tough sledding to get these yards, but I do think that it's possible. So I'm going over on that as well. So those are your over-unders for the week. Before we go to our pick'ems, does anybody have anything that they want to say for this game?
Nope.
We're good there. Yeah, Jeff did say that this is the first time an opponent's player was part of the over-unders. This is a fact. Now, with that being said, folks, it's time for the weekly DGD Pick'em. But first, as of week 4, last week, here's our standings for last week. So Juan went 6-4. Keon went 5-5. Kobe, you went 7-3, best of the week. I went 4-6. Dan and the Brigade both went even 5-5. Now, if you're wondering why the points, keep in mind upsets and locks dictate these point numbers here as well. So Juan had 6 points. Keon had 7, tied with the Brigade for most points. Kobe and Dan had 5. I ended up with 4.
Did I lose my lock? Is that why I ended up with 5?
Maybe. I'd have to go back and look. I know that there was
numbers looking real close. Outside of Dan.
So far this season, Jaden's starting to get to the point where you got to be. He's dangerous. All right, my son is dangerous. Him and Dan. He's carried the Brigade on his back, okay? 45 points. Now, to be fair, Brigade's got 35-15 record. Dan's got 37-13. But points, because of the Jaden's game of the week being 3 points for the Brigade, he's perfect so far. And he has carried them to a tie right now for first place. I've got 37 points with a 33-17 record. That is also the same as Juan. Kobe, you have 38 points, 36-14 record. Keon, you're at the bottom, 32-18 with the 36 points. Very close. Still a lot of football to be played, a lot of games to be picked. Boys, this is a close one.
Yeah, it was looking crazy last week coming into this week. It looked like, everybody's running away from me. Nah, slow that shit down. Here I come.
There you go. All right, first game of week 5. Got to do it. Ball State, James Madison. Boy, James Madison coming off of that ass whipping of UNC. I think it's unanimous, I would assume here, but I think everybody's got James Madison.
Yeah.
Were you surprised? No.
No, and I looked ahead of their schedule. I mean, I would say at this point, them and Boise State are going to be neck and neck for the 12th seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I've got a good feeling that there's a chance there. So everybody picks James Madison there. This one's interesting. Florida State finally getting that first win. Against going to Dallas, SMU.
Bring on the pony show.
Let's see who we got. Dan is the only one rocking with Florida State. Everyone else going SMU.
Dan, go ahead and walk that lead down, buddy. Go ahead and shift that thing into reverse, buddy. We about to catch you this week. Wow. With DJ, you need to get a job at quarterback? Oh, yeah.
DJ Ugabaduki at quarterback. Yeah, now everybody got SMU. Now listen, SMU, I have some hesitancy, but I still think they're good enough to win at home.
Nah, I watched what they did to TCU last week. I'm riding with the ponies.
There you go.
This next game is going to be that's
Oklahoma.
going to be
Oklahoma, Auburn. I don't know how to feel about this. Oklahoma ranked 21st in the country. Got a quarterback situation in both of these schools right now.
Did he do it?
Let's see. Everybody clean sweep Oklahoma.
Okay, thank God.
I think defense will travel in this game and create hell for Auburn. Hugh Freeze, find another excuse to blame your players this week. Simple enough. Buddy. We'll let Bo Wallace cook his ass again. I'm fine with that. Yeah. This next one's gonna be interesting. Jerry World.
This is
Arkansas,
crazy. This is
Arkansas, crazy. Texas A&M, 24th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. Fighting Texas Aggies. Woo! In Jerry World.
I'm not going to this one.
Dan has Texas A&M. Everyone else is riding with Sam Pittman and the Hogs.
Yeah, he's we're walking him down this week, fellas.
So
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say this plain and simple. I either need Arkansas to figure it out, or I am going to need them to move on for Sam Pittman, because I just can't pick against the man, and it burns me in this damn pick'em almost every year. I look at that game and I go, a Sam Pittman-led team, let's ride.
Oh, no.
Pitballs!
I will say that. Turn that damn jukebox up. We'll say this. Jaden did pick for the Brigade on this. There was a tie on the poll. So the Brigade, Jaden picked this game for you. Same scoring applies because this is not the game of the week. So keep that in mind. Kentucky. Traveling to Ole Miss in Oxford. 6th ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Guys. Clean sweep. Boom. Ole Miss. Everybody got them Ole Miss Rebels. Now, I do want to preface this because earlier in the show, we did talk about this being a closer game. If I'm not mistaken, it was Kirby. Is it possible that this game is close, or do you think this game is another out-of-hand game?
I think it's close.
You think it's close?
I think it's close.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think at home, I want to see. I think this will be the first true test for Ole Miss.
I think the spread's at like 17.5. I think Kentucky covers that.
I'm not putting money on that. I wouldn't put money on that, but there you go. Now, this one is going to be interesting, folks. This one's going to be interesting. UNC, fresh off an ass whipping, going 8 miles down the road to Durham and taking on them Duke Blue Devils. This is about to be fun. Right, good old rivalry game this early in the season. Everybody goes Duke except for Keon. Just can't let it go. Got to go with those little Tar Heels.
Good pick, Keon. Good pick, Keon.
Keon want to talk all that shit about Dan walking his points back, but he might be helping Dan out too.
Nope.
So leave that there.
Keon, did you watch that game last week, Keon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I sure as hell did. Alonzo Barnett cooked your ass.
Finna tear a heel in that ass. Yeah.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Y'all gonna roll up with a coach who's already quit on y'all.
Yeah,
Wisconsin. Big Ten matchup here, folks. Wisconsin going out west.
USC.
Out west to the Bear Alexanderless USC Trojans, 13th ranked. I'm just saying. And with that being said, clean sweep USC.
Tyler Van Dykeless, Wisconsin. I don't think so. I watched that.
They are not diking anymore. That's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even know who their quarterback is, to be honest.
They need a new dike in there.
I don't know if they got him anymore. With that being said, next matchup. 15th ranked Louisville Cardinals. 16th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish, South Bend, Indiana. I think this is going to be closer than people realize. And as the results show, myself, Keon, Dan going Notre Dame, Kobe, Juan, and the Brigade riding with Louisville. Boy, that one's a good one. I think that's going to be a good one. If the weather's not messy, super messy. Just I don't know. I don't feel. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Bring me them boys down in Louisville.
Yeah, the Sluggers. Yeah. Next one. Who would have put this on your 2024 bingo card? 19th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini, going up to Happy Valley, taking on the 9th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Is it unanimous, folks? So see, nope. Juan rolling with the Illini. Everyone else going for the Nittany Lions. If I'm not mistaken, this is their whiteout, by the way. Just saying. If I'm not mistaken, this is their whiteout, maybe?
I thought they were playing Washington later in the year. It's their whiteout, but maybe you're right.
I don't know. I felt like Belima for the head coach for Illinois. I think it's Belima. I think he mentioned something about a whiteout or something. I might be wrong, but if it's a whiteout, I think that game is going to be rocking.
Yeah, if it's the whiteout at night, L.
We'll see. All right, boys and girls, time to put up or shut up. It's Jaden's game of the week.
Let's go.
Jaden's game of the week. 2nd ranked Georgia Bulldogs, 4th ranked Crimson Tide. If you're watching this right now, if you want to do a score prediction, put your score prediction there. Fine with me. Let me know who you're picking in this one. All right. Somebody's ready to fucking go, boys and girls. Somebody's ready to go.
I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to pick this game.
Yeah. Who do you got in this game?
Show me the dogs on the graphic.
Boom.
Our own flesh and blood from Robert here, stabbing us in the back.
Whoa.
Listen, you can call it a surprise. When I said before this show, before the season started, that my man had free reign to pick whatever game he wanted and whoever he wanted to win, I have no persuasion at all. At all. It's scary, might I add, that he has hit every single one so far. Now we're gonna have an interesting conversation, because either I'm gonna look at him like, buddy, I'm sorry, but you didn't win this time. I'm gonna have to hurt his. I hope I don't hurt his feelings. I hope I don't. Or I'm gonna have to come over here.
I hope you do. What? You want us to lose?
I didn't say I wanted us to lose. What the hell do you mean? Either I'm gonna have to hurt his feelings by telling him he missed this one, and I don't want to necessarily have to do that in the sense of hurting his feelings. But
sorry,
at the same time, this is why you go for the dogs, buddy.
You just lie to him. You just go, listen, the elephants won, buddy, and we just keep rolling.
I ain't gonna lie to him.
We just keep rolling.
Nope.
Yeah, I hope you have to hurt his feelings.
Yeah, I do too.
10
I do
minutes
too.
of tears.
I hope some tears roll in your household, Robert. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be willing if we're willing to burn the New York Giants over this game. I'm willing to see a couple tears roll. I apologize.
Yeah, I need it actually.
Look, I know people. I know I'm ready for this. Hold on, I got to do this because this might be a clip for anybody watching this. For the Bama fans out there, I guarantee this is gonna be a fucking clip. So I'm gonna do it anyway. This is the game of the week in our predictions. Okay. Yes, a 6-year-old picked Alabama, and I'll tell you why. I'll preface this by telling you why. He picked them because of the elephant. But you want to know the best part about it? Every single one that he's picked so far, he has picked the animal, and they've won. So there you go.
Hey,
let's do it.
Listen, we're gonna start. We're gonna have to start laying a little cheddar on these games if he keeps it up.
No, seriously.
So yeah, those are the picks of the week. Now we also have our locks of the week. All right, locks of the week. I've got Miami taking down Virginia Tech, covering the spread -19. I got Dan. Dan has Oklahoma winning on the road as a 2.5-point favorite in Jordan-Hare. Juan, Texas taking over Mississippi State at 38.5-point spread. Kobe and Keon, you have the same thing. Feel free to just let us know what you're seeing on that game. I think it's going to be belt to ass and then some. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
Bad.
Unspeakable things to that team. It's going to be bad. Upset alert. Let's see who our upset picks are. Kobe, me and you have BYU taking down Baylor, 2.5-point underdogs. They are ranked, by the way, and they are a dog to Baylor. I feel like it's almost easy money, but sometimes it's too easy, too good to be true. Keon, you've got Arkansas beating Auburn by 4.
That's easy money right there, Paul. I ain't even gonna lie to you, Paul. That's an easy one.
Juan's got this. Might be the hottest one of the year so far. Juan, and listen, I love Stanford. I love Ash over there. Shout out to Ash doing his thing over there. Juan has Clemson on upset alert, 21.5-point favorites. He's got them up. He's got Stanford upsetting Clemson in Death Valley, their Death Valley. And then Dan has Washington State taking down Boise State with a 7.5-point underdog right there. So we'll go back here and recap real fast. If you want to see the full picks, we are posting them up right now. You'll see that right there. James Madison, clean sweep. SMU, Florida State. Dan going with the Seminoles. Everyone else rocking with the Ponies. Clean sweep for Oklahoma, taking down Auburn. Almost a clean sweep for Arkansas A&M, except for Dan. Dan being stingy Dan there. Clean sweep for Ole Miss, taking down Kentucky. Almost a clean sweep for Duke, Carolina. Keon rocking with Carolina. Clean sweep for Southern Cal, taking down Wisconsin. Even across the board here, Louisville and Notre Dame. Louisville got the Brigade, Juan, Kobe. Myself, Keon, and Dan rocking with the Irish. Everybody got Penn State except for Juan. Jaden picked for the game of the week. Jaden picks Alabama. The rest of us got them dogs on top. Boys, what a eventful week 5. And that's just the 10 games that we covered.
Right.
I think this week's going to be fun. I do. So you got the chat still going down right there, talking about kicking for the Georgia-Bama game.
Special teams, special players.
Said it perfectly by a special teamer himself. Love it. Guys, any final thoughts before we send this home and get ready for Saturday's big matchup?
Yeah.
Game of the year.
Oh, go ahead, Keon.
Oh, no, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you first, and I'll send this off.
This is going to be game of the year. This is where it's all the chips get laid in the middle of the table. You just got to stand up and wait for that final card to get turned. Well, guess what? That dealer is itching to pull it. And so are we. How about them dogs?
I think for me, leave you with this. College football season, it's something that we wait all off season for. It's short, it's sweet, it's unique. There's only 12, 13 Saturdays in a season. And then you look at this and talking about game of the year. I mean, games like this only come around once every so often. So, especially I think with the hurricane looming, please stay safe. Shelter in place, get out of there if you need to be out of there. But when Saturday comes, I hope you have power. I hope you're safe. I hope you enjoy this football game. We're blessed to be able to watch and cheer for such a good team, good coach. And, it's amazing to have this challenge ahead of us. It's boring. You play the Tennessee Techs, you beat them bad. It's a snooze. The stress of a game like this is what makes college football and the game of football so much fun. So, go Dogs. Here we go.
Before we leave here, though, I do have to say that the show is brought to you by our friends over at Alumni Hall. So make sure you're getting geared up with our friends over at Alumni Hall. You can shop now. Go to dgdpodcast.com. You can shop there. And if you order online, whether you want a jersey or anything like that, 8% will go to the Classic City Collective. Or if you're in stores in Athens, go in there, mention the DGD podcast, tell them we sent you, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. All right, make sure to tell them, hey, we sent you, get you 10%. Go from there. It's where the dog fans shop. With that being said, hit that like button on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast, leave us a like, review. Let us know what you think. Boys, belt to ass Saturday. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a close one. I want to say belt to ass. I don't say it. I don't see it happening. Looking forward to this game. We'll see y'all Monday for the aftermath.